What it is, interdimensional travelers. Thank you for joining me for this interesting episode that I'm about to present. You know what? So I was watching this guy, David Icke. I guess everybody knows who he is. I didn't know who he was. People started mentioning him in my comments after I started making videos. I never really looked into his stuff. I probably saw it and I saw Lizard Men and I, decided not to watch. But I started watching his stuff recently, and it turns out that he is on the same trip that I am on. So I thought and he has the same solution, although I'm not sure he does much to promote that solution, which is removing fear. So I want to talk about something related to that, and I want to talk about, I guess, exercises you can do to start to break out of this dimension, of this video game or whatever it is. So I guess I should explain that. I'm kind of on board. Sorry, I'm just putting up my recording monitor. I'm on board with the idea that we are living in a virtual world, a simulation of sorts, a video game. I think that's about right. But I think the way they keep us, and I guess this is the same thing David Icke says, is that the way they do it is they keep us in fear. They keep us on low vibrations, negative vibrations, basically. And the way we interpret reality is through our programming's interpretation of vibrations. And our programming is very specific and designed for our happiness, designed by the architect or creator of that programming. So we are all perfect in the sense that we all are exactly as we should be, and we are all serving our role in this in this universe, basically a crucial role. So, in other words, if you weren't part of it, the whole universe would fall apart. So that's what I mean by being perfect and our programming being exactly correct for us doing the right thing. But it turns out there are vulnerabilities in the programming that the bad guys who are supernaturally bad, controlled by legitimately dark forces, they've found ways to hack it, basically, to hack the code. And it doesn't totally poison it, but it poisons it pretty bad, so that they've just figured out ways to manipulate it so that they're able to give us stimuli that we are programmed to respond to in a particular way for the better of our survival and the survival of our species. But they are working in reverse. Basically, they found a way to key into that part of our programming and make it so that we're locked in a negative, fear-based reality, a prison of sorts, a type of prison, because they made it so that it's hard to break out of it, because they figured out how to push our buttons so that we're stuck. And one of the main ways they do that is through dependency, and making us dependent on things that we can't control, basically making us dependent on things that we don't really have an active part in being able to change. So we're dependent on the government, yet we have no control over it. So that kind of dependency makes us, locks us into, it keeps us in a constant state of anxiety, which is the same as fear, always worrying about the next day. And actually, that's what Matthew wrote, or that's what's in the book of Matthew, which is my favorite book from the Bible. And it's Matthew chapter 6, where he talks about don't be anxious. Do not be anxious about tomorrow, because tomorrow will be anxious enough for itself. That state of anxiety, that state of fear, that worry about our next meal, our next paycheck, our mortgage payment, all of that keeps us locked into this reality, this prison. So in order to save the world, which is what I'm trying to do, every time we're able to push out the walls of this prison, it's a positive, it has a positive reinforcing effect within our universe. So the first thing we would want to do in our universe to make it better is to to elevate ourselves. And then I think I might have suggested the second part of it before the first part, which is why I wanted to do this intro. Basically an intro, but in reverse, because I already did the other thing, so I'm not introducing it anymore. I said to go out and tell people about what's going on, and the reason to tell people is because that has the potential to break them out of this illusion where they don't understand what is going on, and there's a fear that it could happen to them and affect their lives. So that's the reason to evangelize. But first, before you can do that properly, you have to evangelize to yourself and make sure that you're radiating the right energy yourself. So I had an idea based on a question somebody asked me in my comments, and I didn't know why I went off on it, but it's real interesting. First of all, it was basically relating to me that I talk about having what would be classified as a mental illness, although it's really mental wellness, which I know many of you have. In fact, if you have not been diagnosed with some sort of mental oddity, then you're likely in the minority of my audience, which is really awesome, because I believe that the so-called mentally ill have superpowers. And we're like X-Men, actually. And that's why they really try to keep us down on the negative vibes. They really use a lot more energy against us because we're superheroes. So what I want to suggest to, in particular, that audience of mine, the best part of my audience. Yeah, I just picked one child over the other, but that's all right. You can join the club if you show the proper symptoms. So those of you, I had this advice to one of my really nice listeners and commenters who was saying that they weren't comfortable necessarily talking about their diagnosed quote unquote mental illness. So I had a suggestion for some reason, due to the superpower idea, to try out an exercise in elevating vibrations. So I'm going to tell you about it after this commercial. So anyway, I had this idea. In the first part of it, which I think more and more I should be advising you guys on this more, is to get yourself some headphones, some big headphones, and start playing some music from them real loud. And, music that you like, and hopefully, you don't have to listen real loud if you don't want to. But I think maybe the magnet's getting active. The thing is about big headphones like this, and I want you to get some that go all the way around your ear and they're real comfortable and you can wear them all day. Even if people think it's obnoxious, it helps to get you into the real world. It helps get you on vibrations of the real world. And this exercise is about imagining yourself as a very powerful antenna or electromagnet, if you will, that is pulling in based on your frequency, is tuning in to a specific frequency, and that programming coming in based on that frequency is then translated into what you experience as reality, as this universe. So given that it is based on the channel you're tuned into, what your reality consists of, then actually elevating or going to a higher frequency will materially change your universe. And so the thing is once you change yours, so you can change, you'll start being able to change your real world. So I guess don't take my word for it. I think the best way is to experiment with it, which is what I did. And the more I experiment with it and have faith, the better it works. So try to trust me on that. I've gone through the process, and it takes faith. It takes a belief in it, in yourself, in the power you have. But it is something you can test. So this is the test. You're a giant antenna tuning in to reality. And on these lower vibrations, which we kind of start out on, we have to learn through our life to elevate ourselves. I shouldn't say we start off on, we probably start off on real good vibes, and then around puberty, things change, and then we have to return. The great cycle of existence. So on these frequencies, these lower end frequencies, these darker entities are able to manifest better. And that basically takes the form even of being able to, it's basically like demonic possession, but it happens on a smaller scale where you don't realize it. It just, you think it's somebody acting funny, but there are dark forces running around on these frequencies, and they'll start reacting a lot more strongly once they realize you can elevate out of, or you might be able to break out of the prison, because they're really wardens. They really need us. They really want to feed off of us like vampires. They feed on fear and anxiety. So what you're going to do is meditate. Take a week. I recommend the headphones and using those a lot. I think they block out the bad vibes coming in. Listen to stuff that gives you good vibes. Concentrate on tuning in to a higher frequency. Just think about that. Just imagine tuning into a higher frequency like you're a radio. And do that for like 30 minutes a day. And go for a walk at the same time. If you can't, that would be just as helpful, I think. And take the time for yourself to save your universe. That's how important you should make it for about a week. Walk, meditate, both. If you have more time, great. And take that time to still your mind and just focus on elevating, basically, in whatever way you can. Don't put pressure on yourself. And then believe that by doing that things will happen to you, that you'll be rewarded for it. You'll be rewarded for taking care of yourself, because that's what God wants. He wants you to be happy and doesn't want you to suffer. So if you take the time for yourself to not do that, then you'll be rewarded. And so anyway, don't take my word for it. Try it out for a week and then report back to me and see how it goes. I think it'll go well. I don't know. I don't know your access yet to your superpowers, but I have a feeling we might be able to create a few miracles. And the thing is the good power is way more powerful, and you only need it to start from a few of us, radiating outwards, basically, and it's contagious and it multiplies. So by starting with yourself and doing that, then it will feed into the good vibes out there, and more people will be able to tune into them. They'll tune into you, like you tune into me. So I thought that was something I wanted to recommend. I don't know if anybody's going to watch this, but I thought it was something I wanted to talk about, so I decided to talk about it. That's the way this show is going lately. Thank you so much for hanging in with me. I'm doing what I think I should be doing, but who the heck knows? I hope you guys are doing well with it. I'm gonna just keep comments on my website because it was going so well. You know, I know the people like doing it on YouTube, but you'll like it a lot more on the website, to be honest with you. So take my advice as far as that goes. And I had something. I was gonna make a bet. I think I'll make a bet. I've been playing poker lately to try to supplement my income, so this is a good one. So I will bet you, if you haven't left a comment before on my website because you think there's not enough people there to see what you're going to say, I bet you that by the time you're watching this and you want to go over to my website and leave a comment, by the time you leave a comment, there will be at least one comment there. I will bet you... Oh boy, this is a big bet. I'll bet you one of these. That is a silver $50. I think that's worth like $7. I can't believe I'm doing that. I use this on the show too. I'll mail it to you. But it has to be your first comment on my site, and you have to leave it. And if you accepted the bet, which is the only way the bet works. So if you decide before you get off YouTube and click the link to the comments that you accepted my bet, then if you get there and there's a comment already there, you have to go give me a donation. That's the bet. But still leave a comment because you're going to get the reward from that. However much you decide to donate, you're going to get rewarded in comments. So, so you're really going to be the winner in the end, is what I'm saying. Okay, thanks, guys. Live fearlessly and love endlessly, and let me know how this goes. Cheers. What it is... Oh, boy, I leaned into that one. What it is, interdimensional travelers.